Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the Dive Bomb Arc Formula 1 Championship. It is round 7. We have taken a week off for Labor Day weekend. We are an American league after all. And now we're back with more Formula 1 action. The first lap of the session has just been run, and it's the 104.70 by Ethan Fonseca. Wasting absolutely no time. This week, though, I have a co-commentator with me. I believe he's one of the newer guys in ARC. So we just see, I believe that was Ryan Houghton going for a bit of a spin cycle on turn 3. Almost a miss. Nicholas Pichet now tops the charts at 40.63. A 40? A 4.63. Jackson Altman gets third with a 105.01. Kyler Boggs with a 105.98. Francis Friend with, we can only assume is like a banker lap with a 107.90. That's you already mentioned that one. Edge Knickel gets a 105.60, right in the middle of everything at the moment. There's the spinning McLaren. The 123.5 is not representative of anything. Kieran Kevin is around in the sector 2. Wow, English me, great start. It's obviously you're pushing the car in qualifying. Francis Fern comes to the line and he gains a second, but that 106.8 is still not representative. I know that it's not. To get his bearings, I guess. Luke Allen with a 106.60. Ryan Houghton is having some problems. He is spun once again in Sector 2. And this is Sector 3, actually. Maybe time to adjust that setup, I think. Yes, he spun on his original lap. Now I believe his tires are just overheating and he's spun again. What the heck did I just look at? Ryan Houghton, the McLaren, spun, and for some reason Cameron Tate in the Red Bull is now doing donuts. And no, Francis, I think, was reacting to whatever the heck Cameron Tate was doing in the middle of the track. He is now beached in the grass. Never mind. He was just in neutral. Tyler Crabtree, that would be. Oh, I should remember what team he runs for. Oh, yeah. I'm like some sort of fool. I never look at any of that stuff. I just go off what I'm looking at on the screen. My weird commentary style treats each individual race as its own championship, and it's sort of in a vacuum. Pichet, yeah. They've been the stars of ARC in general. This is Pichet's second. Oh, this is only his second race in the league. He won in his debut and immediately got signed as the second full-time driver on the Ferrari team. probably not much of a surprise. He's sort of just become the next... And one thing that I like to do on these broadcasts is sort of a track guide. Follow one driver's onboard camera and take basically an informative guide around the circuit. Pretty simple Red Bull Ring. There's only 9 turns. And with Ethan Fonseca, as he gets to turn 1, be mindful of both curbs because the inside one just pushes you to the outside, and then you'll get a time penalty. Heading up to turn 3, which I still call turn 2 sometimes. Easy braking zone since you're uphill, but that means that the acceleration zone is painful because you're on a hill. Yeah, they're just in the pit lane. I think they may be choosing to not qualify. Turn 4 is just a standard hairpin. I think this is 5. Is a high-speed left. Turn 6 is pretty much an identical turn. It's not downhill at the exits. Turn 7 doesn't really exist. Turn 8, very easy to run wide here. And if I think it almost does, he abandons the lap. And that final corner is basically just a similar downhill braking zone. Do not clip the inside curb too much or it'll push you wide and you'll get a time penalty. Yeah. Oh yeah, turn 1, I think turn 1 is worse than those two. Simply because it's very easy to just smack that inside curb there if you turn in like a millisecond too early and you get forced out. It's Marian. One of the few remaining European drivers in the league at the moment. He runs a 105.67. He seems to have corrected some of his skid. Kieran Kevin he's not really shown a whole lot of brilliance this season so far, so that's quite a good lap for the Haas driver. You're Americans, we say Haas, deal with it Europe. Oh boy. Crabtree appears to be lagging a little bit on the stream. And then we have the Williams of... He's literally just specified that I should just refer to him as his last name, Al-Hazmi, because his name is a mess even for himself. Yes, I just call him Al-Hazmi, or the Williams driver. Matthew Stotts. That's the other Austin. It's usually easier to call them by their name in my experience. I wouldn't want to have to say the bomber every time so he goes for an overtake. And I certainly wouldn't want to have to pronounce Fortnite Racing every time I talk about Francis Farrand. I would just die of cringe. Ugh. Matthew Stotts excels in qualifying laps for the most part. His race pace can be a little inconsistent, but he can compete at the front on a decent Grand Prix day. Alright, as Ethan Fonseca has just picked off the provisional pole from his teammate by 0.03 of a second. Yeah, 4/10 is not super close at most Grand Prix circuits, but then you head to Red Bull Ring and the shortest lap time on the calendar, and 4/10 means a whole lot more suddenly. Matthew Stotts runs a 105.603, topping AJ Kinnickle by a singular thousandth for P8. Crabtree and Tate are still not even on the racetrack. And as Altman, the top three combatants, as it were, are waiting for the exact last moment to begin their runs, clearly. Kyler Boggs, however, is not, and he's like the top driver on the track right now, him and his teammate Francis. Looks like Kyler's abandoning the lap. He's heading into the pit road. So instead... No, it isn't. Yeah, I don't think even at this short track he's going to have enough time to get back around and remedy that problem. Francis is going to head out of the last turn. He improves his lap time, but he doesn't actually gain any places with that 105.2. I think currently what that amounts to is it's, I think AJ just exited to give his teammate some tow while he's on his outlap. Speaking of outlap, Nicolas Piché is now on one himself. Fonseca and Altman has not exited the pits yet. He was also just in the pit lane, I think. I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes. He just ran a lap, but it wasn't a very fast one. I think he abandoned it near the end. Tyler Crabtree manages a lap, 106.2, that only jumps them over a singular driver. And Cameron Tate's going to be the last one that can run a lap that, is yet to do one. But I think Nicolas Piché is the place to look since he's probably going to be contesting for pole with this run. Except he's not, as he botches it out of turn 6's exit, and that's an invalid lap. He will technically have one more shot, but I don't think he wants to take a second lap.
I mean, I don't think it really matters exactly, because both him and Ethan I forgot to say his last name. Give me a sec. Ethan Fonseca, both of them are going to be on the top. Both of them are going to be on the top two, so it's not like it really matters to him. As Alan does retire from his lap, is AJ Kinnickle ends up getting a 105.40 or 105.433 and gets his own 8th place.
Cameron Tate appears at the last minute. He takes third on the grid with the 104.77 and then sends himself to oblivion. So unless Jackson Altman has some arguments Ethan Fonseca will be probably on pole because not a whole lot of drivers are really going to be getting near 104.6. Jackson Altman.
I will say that was a surprisingly good lap from Cameron Tate. I mean, he came from not having a single lap put in throughout qualifying to being in third place. As Tyler Crabtree gets 13th with a 1.62.
I mentioned that already.
Oh, sorry.
And Ethan Fonseca furthers the margin of 104.45. So Jackson Altman, to take pole, will have to find over 6/10. Or almost 5.5 tenths. No pressure, though. Kyler Boggs is also on track.
No pressure.
Also on track, not far behind said McLaren, and he probably has some more pace in the car if he can find it. I don't know if he's going to be touching a 104.4, but he can probably get onto the second row.
Looks as though the other McLaren driver ends up getting 8th place with a 105.38.
And once again, Altman improves, but he doesn't improve by enough to, gain a place. Same thing for Kyler Boggs. So, for all intents and purposes, that is going to end the qualifying session. I don't remember if we still have formation lap off or not. I don't know when I'm supposed to read through the grid, because that's the only when I do that, is scroll through each car as I highlight them on the formation lap. But if there is no formation lap, I can't do that.
Well, I mean, you could go through now.
Well, the session's about to end.
Well, I mean, while we get a little time between the two sessions, we can go through that now, I guess.
It's not enough time.
Our provisional
attempt.
Our poll said we got Ethan Fonseca. Kind of surprised that I was able to get that fast of a car, considering everyone else's time. He's about 2-3 tenths ahead of his co-partner in second place, who's in second place, Nicholas Pichet.
Well, I think Pichet probably had more speed in it, but he pushed the limit a bit too far.
I mean, just like in real life, those Ferrari cars are just really fast.
But unlike real life, they also complete the Grand Prix.
Well,
complete the Grand Prix and their strategies actually make sense.
I will say some of them did use a lot of tires. There are a decent amount of people who use 3 and 4 tires, 3 and 4 tires of softs.
Well, the softs are pretty much not exposable. They're pretty much
Expendable.
Expendable, yeah, that's the word. Because you have so many of them, you're still going to have 2 sets available to you, 2 or 3 sets available in the GP itself. But it's probably going to be a medium to hard strategy in a perfect world anyway, as it is at literally every track in this game, it seems like.
One thing I will say, it was asked earlier, Francis, we are not allowed to retire on track.
You're supposed to retire in the pit, yeah.
Yes, or if you crash, that's really kind of a...
Yeah, not really a lot you can do about that.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about retiring on track if it's because you died mid-race.
Hang on, let me just reanimate myself and walk back to the pit lane.
Sorry, let me just reanimate and go back and, just drive back to the pits real quick, then I can decompose again.
So apparently they're saying in the chat right now that they can't hear you on the stream, as we do actually have a formation lap. But it's the broadcast one, so I don't have time to.
So we have Ethan Fonseca in first, Nicholas Pichet in second, Cameron Tate in third, Jackson Altman in fourth, Al-Hazim in fifth.
Al-Hazmi in
fifth. And I don't know the rest.
Really, Crofty, they want to finish well? Unfathomable concept.
I can't even hear Crofty, and I don't think I want to hear Crofty, so.
They'll be hoping to finish on the podium, failing that within points. So you mean they want to do well? I mean, why else would you be here? I want to finish last.
I don't know, for fun. I mean, Nicholas Latifi does it every week. Sixth place is Kyler Boggs.
As we have the 5 red lights, and the Austrian Grand Prix is away, but bit of...
Nicholas Boucher did not go off the line.
No, he did not. He's not there. So that is a critical failure for Ferrari. He might get disqualified sitting there too.
So I guess like Ferraris in real life, I don't know what happened.
And he had an engine failure before we started the race. I think that happened in real life once.
Yeah.
So last week's race winner doesn't even make it out of the starting grid slot. And now it's just...
Didn't Yuki do that in real life here? Or that was someone I think that did that real life here.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it was. I thought it was Hungary.
Oh, well.
I thought someone did that at Hungary. Anyway, the current F1 proceedings. Here we have Kieran Kevin off in turn 5, in between 5 and 6. Probably hooked a curb too much. Very likely way for someone to spin out in this game.
Ethan Fonseca will lead first lap with Cameron Tate in second and Jackson Altman in third. AJ Kanickles jumping all the way up to fourth.
Yeah, he has a lot of those hole shot type starts. He's up from 9th off the grid. His teammate Luke Allen has also made a similar number of places up on the first lap. A very pivotal point in this Grand Prix, I feel like, will be the time penalties, since we raced on strict corner cutting in this league, and Red Bulling with the last 2 and the first corner are just breeding grounds for time penalties. Turn 6 can get you too if you're not paying attention. Like literally half of the corners on this track you can just haphazardly run wide and get absolutely slapped by the stewards for it.
Very, very true. Another thing I will say is, as you were talking about that, Francis Barron did pass Al Hazmi.
Yeah, the Williams.
The Williams driver.
And do like the default thing that they do on like career modes. They don't want to say they don't know how to say your name. A problem that I suffer from all the time. And yeah, it's the second lap of the Grand Prix, of course he is. Interesting thing on the strategy front is that Al Hazmi is the only driver on the hards, and Kyler Boggs is the only driver on the softs. Everyone else is on the mediums.
I don't know what's more interesting between those two. Yeah, I don't...
I think starting on the hards is more... I don't know, I think starting on the hards is more interesting. Kyler Boggs has been here long enough to know that there's usually an early safety car in this league.
There.
So starting on the softs and just going...
So you're really gonna have to expect that safety car if you want to get your strategies correctly, because if not, you're gonna have to do a 2-stop or something like that. Unless you really want to drag out those hards.
It can be done. It was done many times on the previous game, but this game isn't quite so lenient. I think we have Ferrand setting up pass. Crabtree is around in turn 5. We're going to shift back to what I thought was a battle for 4th. DRS is now available, so that's going to turn this into a 9-corner super speedway race.
Cameron in second with the fastest lap of the race.
Jackson Altman went around in turn 1. That is that's race affecting right there. Ryan has a huge run on Boggs, who just does not put up resistance. They are too wide at the top of the hill, and Francis just blatantly shoves AJ a little bit off of the circuit.
Oh, contact between Colby and the AlphaTauri driver. Also, speaking of that, the AlphaTauri driver got one of those Reddit time penalties.
And he is the first victim. You have Knickel attempting to defend from Al Hazmi, and he manages to successfully do so for at least the time being. Now Marion is around in turn 5 again. This corner, I really didn't think this was going to be the corner everyone got caught at. Now with
What's going on with these drivers today? Both the McLarens have been having some issues with spinning.
Could be these curbs or just a aggressive setup or possibly a mixture of the two.
There is a yellow flag. It looks as though
as we have a battle for the lead, Cameron Tate just goes bowling into the side wheels of Ethan Fonseca. He snaps on exit and he's lucky to avoid the wall with that. I don't think he'll be avoiding a time penalty for that though. I must be perfectly honest. He definitely lived up to the name Dive Bomb Arc, but oh my god, that's too much dive bomb. He about does it again on the back of Luke Allen's Alpine.
it looks as though Marion might be retiring in the pit, as he did.
He may have suffered a lot of damage, possibly damage to like the floor and the rear wing and stuff.
Ooh, Cameron spinning.
Cameron Tate with the tank slapper to end all tank slappers. Once again, turn 6. Or is this 7, basically?
And the other Red Bull, Colby Luca, also falling back into 12th with a spin.
Lemmings, the lot of you.
Oh no.
Red Bull disaster class at the moment.
I thought that's Ferrari's job.
Yeah, turn 6 and 7 are on a kill streak right now. They probably got a counter UAV in the sky at this point.
Okay, who put the Mario like squid thing over there that like put
or the banana peels?
Yeah, who put the banana peels on the track?
I think there's some rain over in turn 6, possibly.
Yeah, looks like both the Aston Martins are trying to fight with this AlphaTauri right now, trying to pass him and get him back down in the 10th. He looks like he's holding both of them up.
That's Gabe Cazzola in the AlphaTauri. He hasn't been introduced yet, but he's very good at defense. That's a way to put it, I suppose. It's crab trees.
We can see it right here. I mean, we can see it right here. He is losing a little bit of time to Luke Allen, and also looks as though Tyler and Matt are both trying to throw it up on the inside. Oh, as Cameron gets a time penalty, and it looks as though he might have spun again in corner 7.
Oh, Tyler Crabtree not ready for Gabe Cazzola's breaking point, and just gives him the chrome horn going into T1. I don't think Gabe much liked that. I can only imagine. I expect a return send. There it is, indeed. Absolutely no hope of making the corner. It just walls off the Aston Martin. Is left in no room to rejoin the circuit, and that's a mighty good save to keep the car off of the wall with that. Cameron Tate, I believe, has just died out of turn 1, and indeed there is his stricken Red Bull over there. And that is an SC.
It's a full safety car. It's not a virtual safety car.
I said NSC, like safety car.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Of course, all I see is Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3 yellow, like, oh really, is that what's going on here, Formula 1? I didn't notice.
Yeah.
And pretty much everyone and their mother is going to be pitting in here for the hard tires.
Yeah. I mean, that seems like the optimal thing to do. You can stretch those hard tires 29 laps.
And suddenly now Kyler Boggs is looking like a genius because he got that,
He's on the mediums.
That is interesting.
I do not know if he's hoping for another safety car or what is going on.
It's not a bad idea. This is ARC, and this is Austria. This track in F1 has quite a history of DNFs. And
I will say there is only 12 drivers left, so it might be a little bit of a stretch.
You don't know this league too well, Roman. I've been here for 7 years. I can assure you there will be another safety car.
I do not know this league too well. I will say that. As the Haas driver is not fit.
Yeah, to try and make up track position somehow. I mean, I guess his mediums will probably still last a few laps. You may as well just go to the scheduled point on the hards. You have to pit then, again, but...
He might be going for the same strategy with with Kyler and hoping for the safety car.
Yeah,
Or
probably.
a second safety car, I should say.
As somebody who has, from my time racing in AF1, 2 DNFs at Red Bull Ring coming from contact with other people, there can and will be more safety cars.
Oh, I mean, we can go over our grid now. Oh, wait. The bomb. Okay. The Williams driver, Al
Hazmi.
Sorry, Al Hazmi. I'll just go by the Williams driver. He did not fit. He's our leader right now.
I mean, yeah, you got the hard tires. You might as well get that track position.
Yeah.
Get onto the mediums later, or hope for that other safety car.
I mean, I feel like you'd hope for that other safety car because if he goes in the mediums, those green flag pit stops are really going to be kind of slow compared to this track time because the laps here are very, very quick in that compared. And if we go off of the pit stops, they do take a little while. It is faster than NASCAR pit stops, but that pit lane is a lot longer, it looks like.
Yeah, a little bit. This honestly seems like it could be a NASCAR track if NASCAR were in Europe.
Yeah,
the layout's
fair.
pretty simple.
Fair. I think they do race GT3 cars here.
Yeah, they race GT3 cars pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
The safety car is making a very quick exit. It's already in this lap, as the last car on the grid is formed up with the rest of it. So we will be
the Williams driver.
as we will be green in just a few moments once Hazmi decides to hit the gas.
You gotta make your best David Crofty impersonation when you call him the Williams driver.
I will not. And we are once again green from the Austrian Grand Prix. Looks like we have some people being caught sleeping in the back. This can only end well. Looks like it's Altman and Boggs 2 wide into 1. They managed to escape cleanly. There's been a problem. Matthew Stotts went off, but he didn't actually lose the field, so he will still be relevant. Ethan Fonseca on the outside grabs the lead from the Williams driver. And now we've got Kaneko and Francis 2 wide. We've seen these two battle a lot.
Ooh, looks like Francis got it.
AJ attempts the Hamilton maneuver on the Mercedes, but mostly clean. And we have a bit of a mess going on over P9. Gabe Gazzola showing more of that defensive prowess, as it were, keeping Stotts and Luca at bay, one way or the other.
I will say, after Ethan did pass the Williams driver, he did get a pretty decent lead off of him. He is about a second ahead as we speak.
He's fast.
He is fast. I mean, there's a reason he's top of the champion.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you could say that. He's like our little Max. He's like our Mexican Max Verstappen. Meanwhile, we got Crabtree down the inside of Luke Allen at turn 3. And the better exit on the outside lane means that we're gonna take this down to turn 4 between the pair of them.
This actually looks like it might be a good battle to watch.
And Crabtree with just a lot of braking is just gonna go ahead of that Alpine into 7th.
I will say, sometimes going in fast to a corner will help. Sometimes just doing the whole switchback is just your biggest bet. Your best bet, I should say.
I want to say that might be what Luke Allen attempted, as we have a DNF.
Oh, no.
I believe Cazzola may have spun in turn 7. I have removed my menus.
No. Another safety car.
I called it, did I not?
You did, but I didn't think it would be this fast.
Me either. I figured we'd at least get to the halfway home.
Oh, as the Haas driver really does makes a great choice and goes to the pits pretty much as soon as the safety car comes out. So helps him out.
Gets off those medium tires. He gets fortunate timing with the medium. Yeah? Are we colorblind, Riker? Those are hard tires.
Are we colorblind?
Those are hard tires. We're getting off the hard tires and getting onto the hard tires. Yeah,
Oh
no, not quite. Good old. It's not quite an AF1 stream until Riker. It's not quite an ARC Formula 1 stream until Riker embarrasses himself in public speaking.
No, that's just Riker. It's not.
It's a Rikerism. You're just like Murray Walker. Part of the charm is the fact that I commentate, despite the fact that I barely can speak English half the time.
Rikers are Will Buxton. He's just in the paddock, doing his whatever it is he does. As so Kyler, I don't know if he did not go into pits this lap. I don't know what he's doing.
I mean, I guess at this point it's not like really getting a free pit stop helps him too much. He's gonna go on to the hard like everyone else and be in the back. No, he's gonna hope for another safety car where you can just go on to softs.
5 laps, I will say.
Yeah, but at a track like this, you can still make overtakes on dead tires if you've got enough DRS and battery charge.
Or as Riker likes to say, going the hard to the hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite as bad as the time in a Martinsville NASCAR race when I said I was putting on 3 tires.
That's a great moment.
Because like I forgot if I had taken 2 or 4, and so my brain was just like, okay, average. No. Anywho, I'm just trying to fill the space since we're under safety car, a bit of comedic effect.
This safety car might be in this lap, depending on how fast that Haas driver can catch up.
Or just how fast the Haas AI can catch up, because he's paused at the moment.
Yeah, shout out America. We're so he caught up.
It's an American league, but the entire top 4 is not from America. We have Mexico, Saudi Arabia, and 2 Canadians.
Saudi Arabia?
That's where Al-Hazmi is from, I believe.
I will say, that is a real dedication to this league to wake up at about like 6 a.m. his time and race here.
Probably easier than being up at 1 a.m. for the likes of Ryan Houghton and Kieran Kevin. So we're already green again. Yeah. I was caught off guard by the restart. Fonseca is already in the distance. Al-Hazmi can just probably sit and protect second at this point.
The Williams driver will protect second. He's got a wild Canadian on his butt.
2, actually. But they're wild for each other at the moment. Context. Going to be 2 wide into turn 3, fighting over the podium spot. Francis gives him a little nudge. Gives Knickel a little nudge, should specify.
A flock of Canadian geese.
Moose. And here we see... Yeah, so here we see the Tim Hortons in their natural habitat.
The Tim Hortons versus hockey.
They're still too wide as we head towards turn 5. Something's got to give here.
This is a true hockey fight going on. Once one of them crashes out, then
he attempts to go back down the inside of 6, but he cannot yield, or he has to yield. He cannot produce anything.
I will say there's a bit of an issue with their fighting. They are over second from the Williams driver Al-Hazmi.
Yeah, they certainly lost time. I think Francis can probably make it up since the Williams driver's tires are a little more shot. That's assuming he doesn't get another visit from the other Canadian, or heaven forbid Jackson Altman gets involved, which it looks like he's just about to do as he just screeches ahead of AJ.
Oh, now the American gets involved.
Just like every other war, now America has to get involved.
Now America gets the War of 1812.
And still got a wing there. AJ still has the right to go down the inside. He does not. He does not live up to the name of the league. He does not dive bomb.
Oh, he did dive bomb the next corner though.
He gets dive bombed actually. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong car.
He is dive bombing it, but he does not get it to stick. He just stays behind that Jackson.
You cannot yield, as I said before.
The American looks to be trying to win the war. Now he just has to deal with Francis.
I would say he has to deal with France, and I'm like, no, he's not French. He speaks French, he's not French. Yeah, so now we're a super speedway race, and Jackson Altman is going to be one of the first to taste the benefits.
Yes.
But from this distance, he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna be doing a whole lot with it.
Oh, Francis does have DRS on the Williams driver, Al-Hazmi.
I'm about to call him AlphaTauri.
No, I was not about to call him AlphaTauri.
As Boggs and Kinnickle are battling again. I believe AJ defended on the outside of 3, but now we're at 4.
The Canadians are fighting again.
Kyler Boggs is American. He's from Texas.
Oh yeah, wait. Sorry, I got Kyler.
Wrong Merc.
Wrong Merc. Sorry. Yeah,
And Boggs will sneak ahead on the exit of 4 into 5th place. AJ is plummeting quickly, although in Kyler Boggs' assistance, he has medium tires, so they're not.
The Haas and Colby are fighting each other right now for that last place spot.
Well, Colby is fighting an AI, so I don't know. Colby is now fighting oversteer on the inside curb of that corner.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Tyler Crabtree with 3-second time penalty.
I'm kind of surprised we haven't actually had that many penalties considering the nature of the circuit. Mind you, we haven't had that many green laps, but the point still stands.
Yeah, half the race has been green, half the race has been under safety car, I will say. And doesn't really look like there's any battling going on.
Not yet. AJ Kinnickle is kind of getting close. Kyler Boggs is. We're about to have a concertina effect, and we're about to have the Francis train of 2022 on the next lap, I have a feeling.
The Francis train, oh no. It's a DRS train.
It's the Polar Express, since he's from Canada.
It's the Polar Express. Oh no. It's the last frontier race.
Dog solid races in Alaska.
They're racing to the territories. It's one of those Alaskan dog races. Those sled races with like the huskies. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm like racking my brain. Like, what is the name of like the really big one of those? Iditarod. That's the one.
Yeah, Iditarod.
Or we're just in a bobsled race, you know, Winter Olympic style.
Yeah.
And nobody is on their battery at the moment, so we're not going to have anything doing on this lap, I don't think, except for back here.
There is a battle between 8 and 9, between Matthew and...
Stotts just sends it on Allen and pulls a slide job and a hairpin. That's certainly a new one. The pass is completed, though. Allen dummies ascend, but doesn't do anything. Just gonna look back
Allen's
to the...
I think Allen might be waiting until the straight to try and get back to that spot. Just trying to get the DRS.
The DRS is more or less just like a MacGuffin on this track. It is the one thing through which the entire Grand Prix is centered. Everything revolves around to DRS or not DRS.
ERS is there too.
ERS is like the side character. That's the subplot.
It's the subplot.
It's like we have more trains. This train is actually catching the Williams driver,
which is kind of surprising.
Well, we're not battling each other, so the fresh tires are winning out. I should probably get the detail off penalties because that's not relevant information at the moment. No one's getting any.
Every racer is tires on 11 laps except for the bomber, or not the bomber.
Al-Hazmi and also the Haas.
Yeah. And the Haas. Kyler is the only one on mediums right now. I think he's hoping for a safety car.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know when it's going to be caught. I don't know when it's going to be caught. It might be eventually. Oh, Matthew with a penalty. Both the last one.
Well, now nope, Colby Luca.
Colby.
We used to have a Camden Luca. Confused me.
Brother.
That was years ago, yeah. I think that's how he found out about ARC, and he's only here several years after his brother stopped running it for reasons we don't discuss here.
Yes.
Still nothing doing. In the chat before this race, I said this is one of my favorite races to commentate because there's never a dull moment on the track. But we've had about 4 laps worth of dull moments, so.
Well, that's just the commentator's jinx. Whose fault is that? I mean, there's not a dull moment for last place because you see Colby and the Haas driver fighting with each other.
And we
Or
have
the
Colby
Haas
fighting
AI.
a ghost.
Yeah, Colby's fighting a ghost. I don't know how they're that far back, but they are. I do not know what happened there. I think it was from Colby having the issues with oversteering earlier. Oh, there's a...
Crabtree has been collected by turn 7.
Crabtree spinned it. Now he's fighting with the Haas ghost.
And Colby Luca, who barely manages to
Yeah,
avoid
Colby
the
Luca.
Aston Martin after the spin.
Oh, and the Aston Martin goes in the pits.
Probably got damage from that spin or something.
Probably. Okay.
Ethan
has
Fonseca has
technical
disconnected
issues.
from the lead. But with how
Yes,
much of a gap he has, he's probably got more than enough time to get back in here and take back control before he loses the position. Especially so if Francis Ferrand has anything to say about it, as he's really catching Al-Hazmi ahead.
I will say, Al-Hazmi did say he had a strategy going into this, but yet he failed his strategy. Now he has Francis behind. It feels sad saying Francis' name every time because you know it's Fortnite racing on the stream.
It is not. I refuse to accept this.
As the Williams driver, a bit.
The strategy has not succeeded. And now will Altman make a play for P2 on the Mercedes? It looks like it, now that the Mercedes is vulnerable with no DRS.
The Mercedes needs to pull some of that AlphaTauri blocking, and he does not do it.
He does not manage. Meanwhile, Ethan Fonseca is back, and he's only lost about half a second to the other cars in his absence.
Oh,
Francis tries to send the outside of 4. This is not particularly easy to do, and he will be unsuccessful on this occasion. If I'm really David Croft, I have to end every sentence with "on this occasion." So.
See, now it would be great if we had a World Cup with F1.
But this is called the World Championship. I'm not sure if you are aware.
No, I understand that, but like, just like the teams are based off the country, something like that. I don't know. I feel like that happened at one point. Oh, as the Williams driver is in 10th on this occasion. Comes out in 10th from the pit.
Just right this
Does look
10th.
It does like he is catching up to that Haas ghost. I don't know if the Haas driver ever comes back.
If he doesn't come back within like the next, I don't know, 10 laps probably. Well, no, because you have to run half distance and you have to be running at the flag. So if he doesn't come back in the next like 10 laps, yeah, he will get nothing. He will lose.
You get nothing. Good day, sir.
Still just not much. I mean, we have the overtake on the Ghost of past cars past, but other than that, we...
The overtake of Kevin Magnussen's past.
We've overtaken Romain Grosjean. I think Ericsson overtook him.
Romain Grosjean did not die. Romain Grosjean just went to IndyCar.
He went to the great banked oval in the sky.
He went to the great state of Gene Penske racing. Or not Gene Penske, Richard Penske.
Roger Penske?
Roger Penske.
Gene Penske and Richard Penske.
Guys who own racing teams.
Ah yes, Joe Penske.
Joe Pesci?
Rick Penske.
Tyler with another penalty.
And we have two spins. Altman spins. Synchronized takedowns. We have Luke Allen in turn 3, and we have Altman in turn 4 spinning. Altman's much more race critical because he was near the lead when that happened.
I will say that caught me by surprise, just seeing the Williams driver and Colby go straight through ghosted Luke Allen.
Oh, they, they went through Nelson Piquet Jr. AJ Kaneko might have a chance on Kyler here. I think those mediums are starting to die. And AJ has found, well, at least the pace advantage over him.
Jackson doesn't have a front wing.
That's kind of important. That's kind of what happens when he smacks into a wall after spinning in turn 4.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong, but also not having a front wing is definitely very important, considering that you lose so much downforce. Well, actually, not as much downforce as the last game. You lose a significant amount.
We have AJ around the outside of Boggs going into turn 4.
Oh, he gets spun almost by Jackson Altman.
I don't know where to look.
The Williams almost got spun by Jackson Altman. They get collected. Colby Luca is fighting with Jackson Altman now. It looks as though Jackson is doing his best at trying to block off Luca's chances at passing him. I do think that wing is definitely causing a real issue for him.
Yeah, I mean, usually being able to turn is kind of important.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's an old or not. Turning is definitely important. Oh, as the ghost of Romain Grosjean has caught up to the two. It looks as though he might be able to pass him. Yep, the ghost of Romain Grosjean.
The ghost of Romain Grosjean almost passed 2 people. If they had to actually deal with him in his corporeal form, he would have probably gotten a double kill. Instead, now we just have Camden Luca. No, Colby Luca down the inside of Jackson Altman.
Oh, wait, no, he didn't pass him.
He does not have a pass. I don't know what you're looking at. Are you watching Camden Luca? Yeah, Luke Allen.
No, the Haas is the ghost. That's it.
Now we have Luke Allen trying to push to catch up to the ghost of someone.
The ghost of a random USA driver.
The ghost of Scott Speed is Colt Cheddar Cheez-Its is down the inside of Jackson Altman, and he's almost making the pass, but Jackson Altman just dumps the battery and gets back. Luca looking for a switchback, but he finds nada. He's still trying to sneak an inside line pass. Luke Allen has overtaken Casper.
Casper, the friend of Ghost. Overtaken Brendan Hartley.
No, Colby Luca is gone. He got into the side of Altman, and then he got tagged by Allen for good measure, and we have lost the Red Bull driver. He is
taxes in a spin in an arc race.
The cheese is in fact expired.
The cheese. No. Holy gas got expired.
This has somehow turned into equal parts racing commentary and comedy skit, it feels like.
Yeah.
I swear, I take this seriously, but just today I don't know what's wrong.
You had a co-host, that's what happened.
I guess. This is why I do it on my own. I need to remain relatively serious. I make jokes even when I'm on my own, but like not like this. Luke Allen is now catching the very corporeal form of Jackson Altman, who's, I mean, he's alive, but he's kind of like undead because he's missing his wing.
He's alive. He just has a big injury, like a broken bone.
There's a big difference between mostly dead and all dead. Clearly.
Yeah. I mean, mostly dead. You're still alive. All dead. You're in the wall somewhere.
All dead. You are Daniel Ricciardo's F1 career.
Oh, that's sad. Oh, Matt is fun. Has fun, and the Williams driver Al Hasney has passed him for 5th place.
Oh, he did the spin. Now can he do the win? And I make this joke about every week because it seems like Stott spins out every week.
Death, taxes, and a spin in the arc race.
Yes. Death, taxes, and 2 safety cars. This is Luke Allen with a massively ambitious send on Jackson Altman. Almost worked somehow, but Altman dumps some more battery. Crossover attack.
I honestly don't know how Jackson is able to stay in front of him for so long. Staying in front
Battery
of
dumping.
for so long.
You might try it again too, for good measure.
Battery dumping definitely yes, but you would think that there'd be a point where it was in these corners. Oh, he went way wide. That is a very wide car.
That is the NASCAR line, if ever I saw it.
That is the NASCAR line. You are not wrong.
No, he might actually get him again too. Never mind, he just nearly spun out.
He did another NASCAR line, and now he's fighting with the ghost of Roman Grosjean.
Like ghost of Roman Grosjean, Kevin Magnussen, and Scott Speed all at the same time. It's just like just a tornado of souls driving this machinery.
I mean, with all of them together, it makes sense that they're in ninth place. Considering who all those drivers are.
A tornado of mediocrity.
Yes, tornado of mediocrity indeed. Oh,
Luca gets a penalty. He's already in last. He's already dead. He's around.
He's around. Oh.
Don't need that sign. To heck with BWT.
This better not cause a safety car.
Not yet. He's moving forwards. So.
Yeah, I will say that strategy that Tyler has is working out.
It is working at this moment in time, but I feel as though he may get a rude awakening pretty soon when those tires give out. Because I don't know if they're going to reach the checkered from here.
I do wish we could see what percentage the tires were at, like it does show in F1 Manager, but it's close enough.
Jackson Altman finally admits defeat and fits a new front wing to the front of his car. He's now on soft tires.
Now he might be fighting with Colby Luca.
I don't know about that. You know, Colby is in turn 8. Altman is exiting the pits in turn 1.
Okay,
he's going to be on his own, but the most he's going to be able to do in this race is score a single point and maybe a second point if he can take the fastest lap.
Yeah. I mean, it might be a bit hard to take that fastest lap, though.
I'm looking to see what it is. He's aiming at a 107.1. Set by the Aston Martin that's in front of him.
Yeah. Actually, never mind. He's on the soft, so he might be able to get it.
I think he is. As long as he doesn't, like, botch the lap, he probably has the pace.
What's surprising to me is that the Aston Martins have the two fastest cars that would go off the fastest lap, yet they are in 9th and 6th, respectively.
Well, that's probably just due to the fact that they had to make pit stops off soft tires at some point or another in the race.
Well, yeah, and also the issue of spinning.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily help in a race. Typically, you'll get your best results when your car is facing the direction of the racetrack.
I will ask you, is there anyone that you are surprised about being in the position that they are?
Honestly, I think my surprise pick right now has got to be either... Well, I can't say the Ghost, because that's a Ghost. So it's...
A surprise can be a disappointment or a good thing.
Well, I'm certainly disappointed by where Jackson Altman's running, as he's gotten to the back of Tyler Crabtree for a consolation prize. He's getting shoved by Crabtree's leg, though, and he will not get the consolation prize either.
No, he did seem to spin, or just stop.
He got bodied by a leg spike, so he, like, half spun. Yeah.
It looks as though Colby Luca is now a Ghost.
Yeah, Jackson Altman definitely the one that's, like, disappointing, at least of the running cars. I mean, I think for the biggest disappointment, obviously, that has to go to Nicolas Piché, since he won in France last time out, and he doesn't even get off of the grid here. Biggest surprise, like, high finishing, or high running order right now, though, is probably the Alpine of Canicle, because as crazy as that, as actually utterly stupid that would be to say it, literally any other league ever, here AJ is upper midfield, so for him to be running on the podium, especially given where he started in this GP, is a little bit of a surprise.
I mean, AJ does normally start races very well, as Jackson spun again.
Didn't seem to be much of a spin. He's already going again. Yellow flag was there, but for like a couple of seconds. Is yet another penalty.
Oh, as the Ghost of Alex Albon spins, I should say.
Well, no, I think he was in AI, came out of AI, and then on AI just to spin out. Still having to give way for the leading cars. Luke Allen is also probably up there in terms of like,
Oh,
surprise.
Gravel.
Tyler Crabtree flexes on Jackson Altman and grabs in another fastest lap.
That's a surprisingly fast lap. I think that's faster than what he got in qualifying, too.
Jackson Altman gets a 10-second penalty for attempting to stay out of the way of the leaders. You'd love to see that.
Colby does retire. I do not know if he crashed into a wall or if that was just a retire on track, and there's something cooking there.
Well, considering where his car is out there, I don't think he spun there. That would take an impressive amount of not skill to spin and go out there. So he either manually retired or he just drove himself at that wall top speed.
Don't know if that causes a penalty. As there's a big gap between everyone now. I mean, the closest battle, I guess we could say, is Al-Hazmi and Kyler.
Yeah, those tires are really beginning to just like have enough of Kyler.
I will say Al-Hazmi is catching up a decent bit, so I think this actually might be a battle we want to watch.
This is going to entirely be a battle because I think Kyler Boggs might be dealing with a slow puncture right now. And that puncture is speeding up pretty fast. Meanwhile, the Williams driver is definitely there. He might just skip the formalities. He's just gonna take it.
Oh, and he does it. Well, DRS, I guess, is not in the equation.
Not really, no. I don't think it's gonna help pull out from here.
I do think he gets it this time around.
Kyler Boggs does get it, but he's driving so cautiously to avoid puncturing the tires that he doesn't really benefit a whole lot from it.
I will say one more thing. It does seem like Al-Hazmi is almost out of DRS. He's only about like 10%.
Because he probably was pushing to get by the Mercedes. As we have a spin, it is Tyler Crabtree again. He's around in turn 5, probably hooked that inside curb. Not turn 7 this time, surprisingly. What the heck was that yellow for, game?
Oh, I think for Allen, he might have ran wide.
It's kind of a hair trigger caution flag there from the game. He just ran wide for a minute. And it's a bit of actually a missed apex to turn 3, but it's pretty much been another day in the office for Fonseca, especially with his teammate off of his case and not off the grid. He was able to just pretty much cruise to a vastly uncontested Grand Prix victory here in Austria. As if that points lead wasn't big enough already.
Well, points is points. Does it matter?
I don't think he needs more points.
One thing I will say that is a bit surprising. Kyler was able to keep those tires for the entire race. Or for the entire rest of the race after that first safety car.
Yeah, I don't know. Those things are being held together by like
glue,
duct tape.
And glue, duct tape, and love.
As Ethan Fonseca grabs the Austrian Grand Prix victory.
Oh, wait. There's something going on. Matthew is catching up a very heavily amount to Kyler. I do not know if he will be able to catch him before the line, though.
It won't matter, he has penalties.
Oh, yeah, that is true. I forgot about the penalties.
So Kyler Boggs is going to survive for P5. I don't know how. Probably really dealt him a winning hand there. Jackson Altman just picks off that FL.
He's still racing, so he could get that fastest lap.
I don't think he's going to get it. Not at 11% ERS.
It's always possible.
Well,
let's go, Tyler.
That penalty doesn't matter on Luke Allen's perspective because he's not going to lose the position to a driver who wasn't here at the end of the race. So Luke Allen is technically 7th, Crabtree 8th, Altman 9th. I don't know if I don't know who we score 10th here. If we score Luca 10th or the Ghost 10th.
It would technically be Colby 10th because if you disqualify the Ghost gets back in the 14th next to Nicholas Shea.
The game grants Matthew Stott's driver of the day, but honestly, I think I give that to, I'd probably give that to, like, one of the Alpine drivers. Take your pick, honestly.
Yeah, both the Alpine drivers had a great race.
They could probably give it to Knickel simply because he finished considerably higher than his teammate, but
Yeah.
Luke Allen had to take a lot more positions away to get to where he did.
Yes, especially after a spin he had.
Right. I mean, AJ, I think, was also doing more battling, too. Alvin just got his places off of attrition, so I think I'm gonna roll with AJ for my driver of the day pick, because screw what the game has to say, I'm my own person.
Yeah, my driver of the day is probably either him or Francis, considering that Francis, throughout this whole race, was just he was just a solid driver this whole race.
I guess he did go from 7th to 2nd, and that's also very notable.
Yeah, that is something pretty notable.
Also, probably driver of the day has to be Kyler Boggs P0 tires. But that is going to conclude matters in this episode in this round of the ARC Formula 1 Championship. I'm still in my own channels mode where I do episodes, not championships.
On the next episode of ARC Racing,
Drive to Survive.
I do not know where we're going to be at, but it wouldn't surprise me if we had a Drive to Survive. That would be something cool.
We'd get canceled right away because of all the toxicity in the chat.
Oh, that would be amazing though to watch.
Yeah, so we don't know what the next track is. If I had to guess, it's probably like Britain or something.
Yeah.
Wherever it is, we'll see you there next week.